evening and welcome to the special Children's Day edition of the Money Show. Today we are talking about something every parent thinks about but very few actually teach at home, financial literacy for kids. Because here's the truth, children don't just learn money habits when they grow up, they learn them from us right now. So from that pocket money, that birthday envelope, that trip to the supermarket, they are picking up cues every single day. So today we are diving into how to raise money, smart kids, and how to teach them to save right, spend wisely, and even start investing early. And for all of this, joining us on the show is someone who's been passionately advocating for practical money habits. Arun Kumar. Arun, hi. Welcome to this very special edition, and you are going to help us break down money learning into simple, actionable principles that every parent can start using today. So let's begin, and let's begin with saving habits, which is in a way building a habit for saving, if I can just call it that. You say children should save 20% of all new money they receive. Now, why that number? And how early can parents really start this and help kids understand why is it important?
Hi, Kavita. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I mean, again, 20% is just I mean, there's no sacrosanct rule, but generally, if you work the math out, at once you become an adult, if you are able to save 20% every month, then over a 15-20 year period, it generally gets you at a good place. But it's very hard for you to suddenly inculcate that habit. So the idea is, if you can teach children from a very early age that whenever you get money, if you are able to set aside 20% initially, and then it becomes a habit. So the broad idea is that, I mean, this is something that I learned from a friend of mine. So his parents had taught him from his very young age that whenever you get 100 rupees, you only mentally assume that you've got 80 rupees, that the 20 will go towards savings or investments, whichever, however you would like to see it. But the broad idea is that whenever he used to receive money, the first 20 will always go towards savings, and that has become a habit after that for a very, very long period. And even today, whenever he gets anything, bonus, salary, so his mental model is that he always gets only 80% of the money that he receives, and so he automatically adapts according to that. So I think that's probably a very good starting point for anybody trying to build that savings habit. The second thing that probably we can also do is that, now obviously savings per se is not very exciting. So if you can attach some goal towards it, let's say your kid wants to buy a cycle, probably 5,000 or 10,000 is the cycle's cost. One that goal, and then you ask your kid to save gradually, and you give the pocket money and they keep some money for that. That is exciting. And the other thing is that obviously that number might be a little large, and for a kid to like wait for 6 months or 1 year to save it is a little hard. So you can probably make it a lot more visual and exciting, like you put the photo of that cycle on the wall, and then you split it into, say, 20 or 30 different pieces, and then you say every time you finish off some bit of it, you tick the first box. So broadly, the idea is that you make it a lot more exciting, you make it visual, and you also break it into smaller pieces, so that, let's say, you cut the same photo of the cycle into, say, 20 or 30 parts, and every time you do 1/30th of that, you tick the first box, and so similarly you can play around with that. So that's the second thing, that there is always, broadly, if you can start with these two, this should be good enough in terms of building a savings habit.
All right. So, you emphasized a lot on the kids should always save for a specific goal, not just for late. Now, how does goal-based saving change a child's behavior? Also, you focused a lot on visual ways to help kids understand. Visible for kids is something that you are talking about. Kids have different abilities. Now, how can parents, if the kid is smart, they might just pick it up. But then, even to help kids visualize, what practical example would you want to give?
See, I think the idea is very simple, that all of us get, see, what is it that we are trying to solve? that there is a lot of temptations. Like even as adults, it's very, very hard to resist those temptations, and as a kid, it becomes insanely difficult. So the challenge is that you want to spend and then get it immediately, or probably if you're an adult, you want to take some loan, and then so the idea is instant gratification. And so how do we allow a kid to get trained to the fact that if you want something, you will have to wait, and then you will have to put that work, and you'll have to save, and then you deserve that reward. And it's not like instantly you get it and then you compromise your future savings for that. So the way to do it visually is, whatever is it that you're looking out for, say whichever is that goal, collect different pictures of that, or one large picture of that which is very exciting, take a color printout and put it in a place where the kid can see it every day, so that it's very exciting for the kid. And then again, you break it down, you break that same image into probably whatever 20, 30, you do different cuts of that same image, so that it the same image gets cut, let's say 5 into 5, let's say 25, right? So you put it as 5 small squares, and so overall you'll have 25 squares. And whatever is the amount that the kid needs to save, you can say for every box you will roughly say you save say $100, and then the overall cost is say 2,500, and every time the kid saves 100, you tick that box. So it becomes a little more exciting towards that. But the idea is to make the goal, which is a little more far from you and it's not very visible, to make it a lot more visible today and more exciting. So I think the idea of making it visual, and you get to see it every day, and that whole journey towards that goal becomes a lot exciting, more than the goal. And this is also proven by behavioral science, that any vacation that you take, more than the actual vacation, that whole exciting thing is about waiting for that vacation and then finally going towards that. So if you can build that habit, I think that will become a good muscle in the longer term, in terms of delaying your gratification and saving up for goals. So I think that's something that everybody can try it out.
Spending, thinking before the buy. You know, you recommend 24 hours pause before buying anything non-essential. This really helps children develop self-control. You also say children should let kids make small money mistakes. Now, what kind of mistakes are we talking about, and why are these important?
Yeah. See, the broad idea is very simple, that there are good habits and there are bad habits. And all that you're trying to do as a parent is make those good habits a lot easier to do, and set the environment up for that. And any bad habit that you want to discourage, now obviously you can tell don't do it, but that's very hard. So you are trying to build some friction, so that you make that bad habit a little more difficult for our kids to do, right? So in that sense, the hardest challenge is every time you get tempted to spend, there, I mean, emotionally you're in a rush, you see that you're already experiencing that, and so you start wanting that. But if you can create a friction of say whatever you want, like say above a particular price, depending on the family's financial condition, you can put the simple rule that if this particular thing costs more than $1,000, let's wait it out for one day, and if you still need it, we will buy it. But and if it's a very large ticket or large cost item, probably you'll have to write down the reasons why you want to do it. So you're just building some friction. The base idea is that there is some thought going behind it, and you're not intuitively getting tempted to buy something. And more you do it, that friction will at some point in time start, and then it becomes automatic that you also start thinking every time slightly differently about whether you want to spend or not. So this is one common approach that you can do to build in some friction. I'm sorry, I forgot the next question, that I mean the second part that you had asked.
Yeah, so we were just talking about what kind of mistakes
Right.
here are important. Yeah.
Right. See, the broad mistakes is that now obviously you can tell them that you have to be disciplined, you have to create a budget. I mean, like as adults, it's so hard, and so at kids, it's almost like it's almost impossible. So the better way to do it is to actually let them make mistakes and then kind of guide them. So let's say you are giving them some pocket money for every week, and then you say, hey, this is your budget for whatever items that you want, whether it is buying some nice food that you like, or buying some toys, or buying some books, or going out to another place. But this is the budget that you get, and whatever be that, it can be 200, it can be 500, it can be 1,000, whatever is the number that you decide that it's okay for your kid to have, and then you let them spend. Now sometimes they might end up spending their whole quota in the first day or in the second day, and then you realize, and the kid realizes that for the next 5 days I am not I can't spend anything, so I have to say no to a lot of things.
You suggest that starting with the mutual funds for children, why are they a better first step compared to stocks or other assets? And, you also said that kids should be taught about long-term ownership and not chasing quick returns. How do parents explain this concept in a very kid-friendly way?
Yeah, see, one of the approaches is, I mean, stocks is obviously a little more complex, so I would probably want them to explore stocks at a later stage. Mutual funds, being that there is already an expert who is kind of buying those stocks for you, I think that's probably a little more easier way to do it. So that's why I said mutual funds can probably be the better starting point. And if the kid at a future point in time develops interest towards investing in stocks, then obviously you can take it up seriously. But the reason why I said you need to also make the kid understand that it's not a theoretical I mean, you invest somewhere and then it automatically grows. You will also need to understand what goes behind it. So in a way, you will also need to teach kids that let's say you start with a very simple index fund, say like something like Nifty 50. Then you show them what are those companies which go underneath those 50 the 50 companies that go underneath the fund that you're buying. And then you say, hey, let's say you go to the ITC hotel, and then you say, hey, this is one of the companies that you've bought. And let's say you see the paint at your house, and then you say, hey, this is another company that you've bought, and look at your toothpaste, and this is the company that you again have bought. Or let's say you look at Reliance stores or something. So I think the broad idea should be that it's not, you are basically becoming an owner in different companies. So through investing, you also tell the kid that whatever products that you're using and whatever you're spending on those products, that goes as profits to those companies. And in effect, by owning those companies, you're also not just spending on those products, but you're also becoming a part owner in those companies. And
Sure.
hence, because you're an owner in some of the best companies of the country, you let it run over a long period of time,
Right.
and you see how those how the money grows.
All right, Arun, I think that's all the time we have on the show, but thank you so much. A lot of aspects on this particular topic that we can go on talking about and discussing, but the time is up. Thank you so much for being on the show and helping our viewers with this today. And on that note, it's time for a short break, but then post that, let's get connected again and let's talk about your financial portfolio on The Money Show.
Risk profile